If you've ever stuck a peach, plum, or cherry cutting into soil and watched it turn brown and die within 2 weeks, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen to this, because I just spent 45 days testing 5 different natural rooting hormones side by side on all 3 of these stone fruits, and the results completely flipped everything I thought I knew about propagation. Before I show you exactly what happened, if you want serious, practical peach, plum, and cherry growing tips every single week, tips that actually come from real orchard work and not some copy-paste gardening blog, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because I'm about to show you data and field results you genuinely will not find anywhere else on this platform. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through why most home growers fail when they try to root stone fruit cuttings, the actual biological reason behind that failure, and then I'm going to break down exactly how I tested willow water, raw honey, aloe vera gel, cinnamon powder, and diluted apple cider vinegar on real peach, plum, and cherry cuttings. By the end of this video, you'll know precisely which one worked best, why the obvious winner actually underperformed, and how you can copy my exact method at home with almost zero cost. Let's talk about the reality first, because this is where 90% of growers get it wrong before they even plant a single cutting. Most people watch one video, cut a random branch off their peach tree, jam it into a pot of regular garden soil, maybe splash some water on it, and then wonder 2 weeks later why the whole thing has shriveled up like a raisin. Stone fruits, peaches, plums, and cherries are notoriously stubborn when it comes to rooting from cuttings compared to something easy like a fig or a grape. They're woodier. They lose moisture fast through the cut surface, and they're extremely prone to fungal rot the moment that stem sits in damp soil without any protection. I've seen growers use the wrong type of wood entirely, cutting from old, hardened growth instead of the semi-hardwood or softwood sections that actually have the energy reserves to push out new roots. I've seen people cut at the wrong time of year, usually in the peak of summer heat when the plant is under stress and has zero extra energy to spare for root development. And I've seen people skip the rooting hormone step completely, assuming that because the tree produces fruit so easily, the cutting will just root on its own out of sheer willpower. It won't. Stone fruit wood is genetically wired to prioritize survival of the main plant, not to throw out adventitious roots from a severed branch, which is exactly why commercial nurseries lean so heavily on rooting compounds in the first place. Now here's the science part, and I promise I'll keep this simple because you don't need a degree in plant biology to understand it, you just need to understand what's actually happening inside that stem. When you cut a branch off a peach, plum, or cherry tree, the plant immediately senses damage at the cut site. In a healthy, intact tree, a hormone called auxin is produced mainly in the growing shoot tips and young leaves, and it travels downward through the stem, controlling everything from branching patterns to, most importantly for us, root initiation. When you take a cutting, you've suddenly cut off that natural downward flow of auxin from the parent plant, and the severed stem is basically confused, sitting there with damaged cells and no clear signal to start producing roots. This is where rooting hormones come in, whether synthetic ones like IBA and NAA that you'd buy in a powder from a garden store, or natural alternatives like the ones I tested. These natural options work in different ways. Willow bark and willow water contain naturally occurring compounds called salicin and indolebutyric acid precursors, which mimic that auxin signal and also carry natural salicylic acid, which helps the plant fight off infection at the wound site. Honey isn't actually a rooting hormone at all in the technical sense. It contains almost no auxin, but it is a powerful natural antibacterial and antifungal agent, which matters enormously because most stone fruit cuttings don't die from a lack of rooting hormone, they die from the cut end rotting before roots ever get the chance to form. Aloe Vera Gel contains enzymes and mild auxin-like compounds, along with natural antimicrobial properties. Cinnamon is almost purely antifungal, with essentially zero hormonal rooting effect, but it protects the wound. And diluted apple cider vinegar creates a mildly acidic environment that some growers swear kills off rot-causing bacteria at the cut site while slightly stimulating cell activity. Understanding this difference between things that stimulate hormone activity and things that simply protect the cutting from dying is the key to understanding why my results turned out the way they did. So let's get into exactly how a professional or serious hobbyist grower actually approaches this, because there's a real system here, and skipping steps is where almost everyone loses their cuttings. Step 1 is selecting the right wood. For peach and plum, you want semi-hardwood cuttings taken in late spring to early summer, meaning the wood has started to firm up but still has a slight green flex to it when you bend it, not fully woody and brown, and not floppy and soft either. For cherry, which is the trickiest of the three, I actually had the best luck with softwood cuttings taken slightly earlier in the season, right after the initial spring flush of growth had firmed up just enough to hold its shape. Step 2 is cutting technique, and this matters more than people realize. You want a clean, angled cut, roughly 6 to 8 inches long, taken just below a leaf node, because that node area has the highest concentration of the cells that eventually differentiate into root tissue. Always use a sharp, sterilized blade, because a crushed or torn cut invites rot immediately. Step 3 is wound preparation, and this is a trick most home growers skip entirely. I lightly scraped or wounded about an inch of bark off the bottom of each cutting on one side, exposing the cambium layer underneath, because that layer is where root initiation actually happens, and exposing more of it gives your rooting hormone, whatever you're using, direct access to living tissue instead of sitting uselessly on top of dead outer bark. Step 4 is applying your rooting treatment, and this is where I split my batches. I took cuttings from the same 3 trees, same day, same wood type, and divided them into 5 separate groups, one for each natural hormone. Plus, I kept a control group with no treatment at all, just to have a true baseline. Step 5 is the growing medium, and I used a well-draining mix of perlite and coarse sand for every single cutting, because dense garden soil holds too much moisture around the wound and is basically a rot factory waiting to happen. Step 6 is environment control, keeping every cutting in indirect light, consistent warmth around the mid-70s Fahrenheit, and humidity locked in using a simple plastic dome or bag setup, because stone fruit cuttings lose moisture through their leaves faster than almost any other fruit tree cutting I've worked with, and if that stem dries out before roots form, it's game over no matter which hormone you used. Now let me walk you through what I actually saw in the field, group by group, because this is where it gets interesting and honestly a little frustrating at first. The Willow Water group, which I fully expected to dominate because Willow Water has this reputation online as the miracle natural rooting hormone, showed decent early callus formation. Callus, if you're not familiar, is that rough swollen tissue that forms at the base of a cutting before actual roots emerge, and it's usually a good early sign. About 60% of my Willow Water peach cuttings developed callus within the first 2 weeks, which looked promising. But here's the problem I ran into, and I want you to really picture this, if you're at home doing the same experiment. Several of those Willow Water cuttings, especially the cherry ones, developed a soft, slightly slimy black discoloration right at the base, spreading up from the cut. That's classic rot, and it happened because Willow Water, while it does carry some natural auxin-mimicking compounds, doesn't have strong antifungal properties on its own, especially not against the aggressive fungal pathogens that love attacking cherry wood in humid rooting chambers. So while Willow Water gave some hormonal push, it left the wound vulnerable, and I lost close to 40% of my cherry cuttings in that group to rot before they ever got the chance to root. The honey group is where things got genuinely shocking, and I want you to really sit with this for a second because it goes against almost everything the internet tells you about natural rooting hormones. I diluted raw, unfiltered honey with warm water at about a 1:10 ratio and dipped the wounded base of each cutting for roughly 10 seconds before planting. The peach cuttings in this group showed slower initial callus formation compared to the Willow Water group, taking closer to 3 weeks instead of 2, which at first made me think honey was underperforming. But when I gently checked root development at the 5-week mark, the honey-treated peach and plum cuttings had a survival rate that blew every other group out of the water, and almost none of them showed any signs of the black rot that devastated my Willow Water and control groups. The reason, once I really thought it through, made complete sense. Honey's real power here isn't hormonal at all, it's protective. It sealed the wound, created a natural antibacterial barrier, and simply kept the cutting alive and undamaged long enough for the plant's own natural rooting mechanisms to kick in on their own timeline, without a fungal infection racing to kill it first. In other words, the biggest killer of stone fruit cuttings usually isn't a lack of rooting hormone, it's rot. And honey solved the actual problem while Willow Water only partially addressed it. The Aloe Vera group performed solidly across all 3 fruit types, sitting in the middle of the pack. The natural gel, applied fresh straight from a cut aloe leaf, gave a nice balance of mild hormonal stimulation and decent antimicrobial protection. My plum cuttings in this group did particularly well, with close to 70% developing visible root formation by week 6, though the cherry cuttings still struggled a bit, confirming just how sensitive cherry wood is compared to peach and plum. The cinnamon group was almost entirely about protection, with very little hormonal push, and while I saw excellent rot prevention, almost zero fungal issues across all 3 fruits, the actual root development was noticeably slower and thinner compared to the honey and aloe groups, which tracks with what we talked about earlier since cinnamon simply doesn't carry meaningful auxin activity. And the diluted apple cider vinegar group honestly disappointed me the most. While a few peach cuttings pulled through, the acidity seemed to stress the wound tissue on plum and especially cherry, and I saw more leaf drop and stem shriveling in this group than almost any other, including my untreated control group in some cases. If you're watching this and you've tried rooting stone fruit cuttings before, I want you to comment the word rooted down below and tell me which fruit gave you the hardest time, because I guarantee it's going to be cherry for most of you, and I want to see just how universal that struggle actually is across everyone watching this. Now let me actually show you what to look for in real life, because numbers and percentages only mean so much until you know what you're physically checking for on the plant in front of you. When you gently tug a cutting after 3 to 4 weeks, and I mean gently, barely any pressure, you're feeling for resistance. A cutting that's beginning to root will feel anchored, almost like it's holding on to the medium with a slight grip, while a cutting that hasn't rooted yet will slide or lift with almost no resistance at all. Visually, healthy callus tissue looks pale, slightly swollen, and firm, almost like a rounded scar forming right at the wound site, and from that callus, you'll eventually see tiny white or cream-colored root nubs pushing outward, sometimes so small you'll need to look closely with good light. On the flip side, a failing cutting shows the base turning dark brown or black, sometimes with a slightly mushy texture if you press it gently between 2 fingers, and the bark higher up the stem may start to wrinkle as the plant loses its internal moisture reserves. On my honey-treated peach cuttings specifically, by week 5 I was seeing clusters of 3 to 5 small white root tips emerging directly from that scraped cambium wound area, spreading outward almost like tiny fingers reaching into the perlite mix, which is exactly the kind of root structure you want to see because it means the plant has built a genuine root system rather than just one single fragile root that could snap during transplant. Here's the golden tip I promised you, and this is honestly something I only stumbled onto by accident during this experiment, something most growers, even experienced ones, completely overlook. Instead of choosing just one natural rooting hormone, I ran a small side batch combining diluted honey with a light dusting of cinnamon powder applied directly after the honey dip, essentially layering the antibacterial protection of honey with the pure antifungal strength of cinnamon before planting. That combination batch, tested only on cherry since that's the fruit that struggled most across every other group, showed a survival rate noticeably higher than any single treatment on its own, and the rot I'd been battling with cherry cuttings in every other group was almost completely eliminated. The lesson here is that natural rooting success on stone fruit isn't really about finding one magic hormone, it's about stacking protection and stimulation together, because the real enemy the entire time wasn't a lack of auxin, it was infection racing against the clock before the plant's own biology could catch up. Most people online treat these natural hormones as if you have to pick just one, and that single piece of advice, combining them strategically instead of choosing sides, is honestly the biggest takeaway from this entire experiment. Before I wrap this up, let's go through the common mistakes I want you to avoid, because I made a couple of these myself early in this test before I corrected course. The first mistake is using cuttings that are too mature, taking hard, fully brown wood instead of that semi-hardwood stage, which drastically reduces rooting success no matter what hormone you use. The second mistake is skipping the wound scraping step, because applying rooting hormone on top of intact bark instead of exposed cambium tissue means most of that treatment never actually reaches the cells that need it. The third mistake is overwatering your rooting medium, which I cannot stress enough, since soggy perlite or sand creates the exact rot conditions that killed a huge chunk of my willow water and vinegar groups. The fourth mistake is placing cuttings in direct, harsh sunlight, thinking more light equals more energy, when in reality, that direct heat just accelerates moisture loss through the leaves faster than the unrooted stem can handle. And the fifth mistake, one I see constantly in comment sections, is giving up too early, pulling cuttings out of the medium after just 1 or 2 weeks to check on them repeatedly, which disturbs those fragile forming root hairs before they've even had a real chance to establish. So if you're planning to propagate your own peach, plum, or cherry trees this season, here's exactly what I'd tell you to do based on everything this test showed me. Skip the trendy willow water hype if you're working with cherry specifically, and lean toward a diluted raw honey dip combined with light cinnamon dusting on your wounded cutting base, planted in a well-draining perlite and sand mix, kept warm, humid, and out of direct harsh sun. Give it real time, at least 5 to 6 weeks before you even think about checking for root development, and resist the urge to disturb it early. This method cost me almost nothing. Everything I used was sitting in my kitchen already, and it outperformed every trendy rooting hormone hack that gets thrown around online without anyone actually testing it properly against these specific stone fruits. Growing your own peach, plum, and cherry trees from cuttings instead of buying grafted nursery stock is one of the most satisfying things you can do as a grower, because you end up with trees that are genetically identical to a parent you already know produces fruit you love, and it costs you almost nothing compared to buying established trees. Don't let one failed attempt in the past convince you that stone fruit propagation just isn't possible for you, because based on everything I just walked you through, the real issue was never your effort. It was almost certainly rot outpacing your rooting hormone, and now you know exactly how to fix that. If this video helped you understand what's actually happening with your cuttings, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the follow-up videos where I go even deeper into orchard-tested methods that actually hold up under real field conditions, not just theory. In the next video, I'm taking these exact rooted cuttings and walking you through the entire transplant process, including the biggest mistake that kills newly rooted peach and plum starts within their very first 2 weeks in soil. So make sure you're subscribed and ready for that one, because if you thought this experiment was eye-opening, that next video is going to change how you transplant every single cutting from now on.